Well, we're back. For those wondering if I had fallen off the face of the earth, I'm happy to say that I'm still with you all. Depending on when you're watching this, you might not realize that this video is the first in several months for the channel. And I do want to say, first of all, I am really sorry to you who have really been enjoying the videos and have been waiting for an update. And so without belaboring too much, I do want to give a brief update on what 2023 has looked like for me so far and what I'm hoping it can look like moving forward for Arcade Redux. I think you deserve that, and so feel free to skip ahead at this point to get to the next part in the Metroid Dread series. I started this channel a year ago this September, and from the very beginning it's been a really important creative outlet for me that combines so many things that I love: music, video games, composition, analysis, and even learning to produce videos. And I didn't know it at the time, but when I started, a lot in my life was about to change significantly. And in the last 6 months, I've completely changed careers from one that I had been pursuing for over a decade to one that began a new chapter for me back in April of this year. And I've also been engaged since right around the time the channel started, so at the same time that was happening, there was also this exciting growing responsibility over time leading up to my wedding, which actually just happened a few weeks ago. So this year has been filled with some unexpected changes, some changes that were expected, and overall, a really exciting new page for my life and also my now amazing wife. And so all that ultimately just led to me needing to put this project aside for a time. As much fun as it's been for me to make these videos, between the process of composing tracks, writing the videos, recording, producing, and editing, it is a lot for one man to do, and it just became a little too much for me during the past few months. But I'm really looking forward to jumping into this channel again, and while I can't promise how frequent or consistent I can be moving forward, I am really excited to get back into bringing you more music, analysis, Metroid tracks, and more. And so one thing that is happening in order for that to be possible is I'm bringing someone into the fold just to help with some of the video production and editing, which I think is going to dramatically help me and the channel continue. So say hello to Brandon in the comments.
Hello.
With all that out of the way, seriously, thank you for being here. I really don't know if I would have decided to continue if it wasn't for so many of you who have subscribed, commented, and just let me know how much you've enjoyed what I've been doing so far. Because on one hand, yes, this is a passion project for me, but really it's more so a project for you. And so I'm just really hoping to provide you with more from this channel moving forward. So with all that said, let's check out Ferenia Part 2. If you don't remember, I took a slightly different approach to this area, and I divided it into 2 separate tracks. So I would definitely recommend checking out the video for Ferenia Part 1 to hear my reasoning behind that and what I did with the first section. But to summarize, this isn't a division based on geography or location, but actually a division based on time. I wanted to accompany what I feel are 2 different levels of energy that are present in this area throughout the course of Metroid Dread. One for when you first explore the area, and one for when you return after the X-Parasites are released. As you can hear in what I did with the first part, I wanted the initial exploration of Ferenia to feel a little more ambient and subtle. Since the first time I played Dread, I always found the visuals of this area to be the most striking and memorable of ZDR. There's so much depth in the different visual elements as Samus moves through rooms of religious structures and these seemingly ancient relics and statues, and so that first journey through the area felt like it needed more space and subtlety in the soundtrack to really let you take all of that in as a player. But there is a stark change in atmosphere when Samus returns a bit later in her journey, as she arrives to find Ferenia overtaken by the X-Parasite. The danger level has increased significantly, and the warm, breathtaking environment is now shadowed by the infected creatures around you.
The X have been released from their confinement. They have now scattered across the planet.
As I approached this track, I took a lot more influence from the tone of the original Ferenia track, because I do find a lot of this original to be really effective accompaniment to the area. There's a lot of interesting harmony and these sharp percussive arrangements, especially in the piano and strings. Overall, I think it does a really great job of creating tension while being a little more punchy and lively than a lot of the other parts of the Dread soundtrack. For my version, I wanted to take the ideas and themes from what I did in part 1 and develop them into a similar type of sound palette to create the same sense of tension and hostility that you hear in this original. But where I really wanted to improve was in the overall structure. To my ear, as the original progresses into these different sections, is kind of where it starts to lose some steam. There's a really interesting tone and opening motif, but after the initial introduction of these ideas, it just doesn't really move and progress in a captivating way for me. So what you're going to hear is my attempt to recreate those elements in my own way and develop them through a few different sections of dynamics and instrumentation changes. I wanted there to be a subtle rise and fall that you feel as a listener that keeps you engaged to what's happening musically. I think of all the recreations so far, this one feels the most like an amalgamation of the original track combined with my own musical ideas, which I find really fun to produce. As always, this is simply one person's musical opinion, and so I really welcome feedback of all types and perspectives, which has actually been some of the most enjoyable parts of this whole project, is getting to interact with you and hear what you're thinking about the original soundtrack. What are some of your ideas about these recreations, and what would you do differently? That's definitely a part of what makes this fun for me to do. So with all that said, here is Ferenia Part 2.